Okay, so we're moving on to lesson 2.3, part 2. We're going to start with the distributive property. By definition, the distributive property, let's say we have x times y plus z. Basically, the distributive property that says that everything on the outside gets multiplied to everything on the inside. So this becomes x times y, plus xz. An example of this with real numbers would be 2 times x plus 3. 2 distributes to the x. The 2 also distributes to the 3. Remember, there's multiplication in between the 2 and the parenthesis. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. So we are going to talk about distributing and combining like terms. We're going to go through one example, as this should be review, and then we will go ahead and move on to the next problems. Let's do number 3 as an example. Looks like we have two different distributing circumstances here. First, we're going to distribute the 5 to the 4x squared, the negative 8x, and the 3. 5 times 4x squared, 20x squared, multiply the coefficients, keep the variable the same. 5 times negative 8x, multiply the coefficients, negative 40x, keep the variable the same. 5 times 3, plus 15. Then we have negative 7 times 6x squared, which is negative 42x squared, multiply the coefficients, keep the variables. Negative 7 times negative 4x, well, we know a negative times negative is a positive, so negative 28x. And negative 7 times 11 is negative 77. From here, all you're going to do is combine like terms. So combine any terms that have the same base and exponent. So we have 20x squared, negative 42x squared. We have 40x and negative 40x and 28x. And then we have 15 and negative 77. So 20x squared and negative 42x squared is negative 22x squared. Negative 40x and positive 28x is going to be negative 12x. And 15 and negative 77 is going to be negative 62. Very important that when we apply and we're simplifying, we always write our answer in descending order. What that means is the highest exponent goes first, and we go on down from there. Okay, moving on to lesson 2.3, part 3. We're going to take that distributive property and apply it to what we're doing here. So steps for solving a multi-step equation. Step 1, distribute. Step 2, combine like terms. Step 3, do the reverse opposite, or in other words, do the inverse operation of what's happening there. So if one of those steps is already done, you can skip and move on to the next step. Let's go ahead and move on to some examples on the second page. Let's start with example 3. Step 1 of solving multi-step equations is to first distribute. That's what we're going to do. If I see parentheses, I know I'm going to distribute. What is 3 times 2x? Well, that's 6x. What is 3 times negative 5? Negative 15. And then my negative 4x comes along, equals 33 comes along. Step 1, which is distributing, is now done. Step 2 is to combine like terms. Well, what terms can we combine? Terms that have the same base and the same exponent. In this case, and they also have to be on the same side of the equation. You can only combine terms on the same side. That is super important. So in this case, I cannot combine negative 15 and 33 because they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. But I can combine 6x and negative 4x. Well, what is 6x and negative 4x? I have a positive 6x, negative 4x. 6 minus 4 is 2. The x stays there. Minus 15 equals 33. So step 1 was to distribute. Step 2 was to combine like terms. Step 3 is now to do the reverse opposite. Well, in order to do the reverse opposite, I need to first decide what is happening to x. In this case, x is first being multiplied by 2, then subtracted by 15. Okay, that's what order of operations would tell me is happening first. X is being multiplied by 2, then subtracted by 15. So I need to do the reverse opposite. Instead of subtracting 15, I need to add 15. Instead of multiplying by 2, I need to divide by 2. So we have 2x minus 15 equals 33. So add 15, I'm doing the inverse operation. Notice that whatever I'm doing to one side, I'm doing to the other side. 2x is going to equal 48. Then, instead of multiplying by 2, I said I needed to divide by 2. So x is going to equal 24. Right? Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. We're going to go through one more example in this video. Let's go ahead and go through example number 6. Step 1, when solving a multi-step equation, is to distribute, if you have to. In this case, there's distribution here. 7 to 4x in here, and then the negative 4 to here and here. So 7 times 4x is 28x. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. Negative 4 times 6x is negative 24x. And negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. If it helps you, you can change your negatives to look like this: 28x plus a negative 35 plus a negative 24x plus a negative 20, if that helps you. If that doesn't, feel free to leave it as it is. Now we need to combine like terms. So, in this case, it looks like I can only, or again, remember, combine terms that are on the same side. In this case, I have 28x and plus a negative 24x. And I have plus negative 35 and plus negative 20. 28x plus negative 24x is 4x, or 28x minus 24x, same thing. And negative 35 minus 20, so negative 35, and then I'm adding more negatives on, is negative 55. Okay, then from here, we need to decide what is happening to our variable. Well, the first thing that's happening is it's being multiplied by 4, then being subtracted by 55. So I do the reverse opposite. I add 55, and then I divide by 4, right? Inverse operation is that opposite operation that's going to undo what I want to happen. So add 55, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. 4x is going to equal negative 36. Now I need to divide both sides by 4 because x is being multiplied by 4. In order to get rid of that, we need to do the inverse operation. And we get x is equal to negative